If an employee is sharing confidential company information, bad-mouthing clients, or engaging in any behaviour that could damage your business reputation, you're generally within your rights to address it. The key is to focus on the impact on your business rather than trying to police personal behaviour. That said, tread carefully. Monitoring employees' social media accounts without their knowledge or consent can be a legal minefield. It's best to stick to addressing issues that are brought to your attention or that appear on public profiles. Another important point, make sure you're consistent in how you handle these situations. If you decide to take action against one employee for their social media behaviour, be prepared to do the same for others in similar situations. Inconsistency could lead to claims of discrimination. Now here's something really important that I want to emphasise. As an employer, one of the best things you can do to protect both yourself and your employees is to put a clear social media policy in place. This isn't just a nice to have, it's becoming increasingly essential in our digital age. A well-crafted social media policy serves several purposes. It sets clear expectations for your team, provides you with a solid foundation for difficult conversation, and offers protection for your employees by giving them guidelines to follow. When creating your policy, make sure to cover areas like what related information can be shared online, guidelines for identifying as an employee on social media, rules about discussing clients or colleagues, and any restrictions on social media use during work hours. Remember, your policy should be reasonable and not overly restrictive. The goal isn't to control your employees' personal lives, but to protect your business while respecting their privacy. Once you have a policy in place, make sure all your current employees read and understand it and include it in your onboarding process for new hires. This way, if you do need to have a difficult conversation about social media behaviour, you're on much firmer ground legally and ethically. Remember, I'm not a lawyer, and if you're dealing with a particularly complex or sensitive situation, it might be worth getting some legal advice. But for most day-to-day issues, a common sense approach based on open communication and clear policies will stand you in good stead. The legal side of things might seem daunting, but don't let it put you off having those important conversations. In most cases, a straightforward, respectful discussion about the impact of social media behaviour on the business, backed up by a clear policy, is perfectly fine. It's all about finding that balance between respecting your employees' privacy and protecting your business. Now, let's bring this to life with a couple of real-world examples I've encountered in my work. As always, I've changed some details to protect privacy, but the core lessons remain the same. Firstly, let's look at a situation that didn't go so well. Meet Sarah, the owner of a small marketing agency. She discovered that one of her graphic designers, Tom, had been posting memes making fun of clients' design requests. Some were quite cruel, and worse, a few clients were identifiable. Sarah was furious. She marched up to Tom's desk, berated him in front of the whole office, and demanded he delete all the posts immediately. She then sent a company-wide email outlining a strict new social media policy. The result? Tom was humiliated and resentful. He complied, but the atmosphere in the office became tense. Other team members were anxious about their own social media use. Within 2 months, Tom had found a new job and Sarah had lost a talented designer. Now, let's contrast that with a more successful approach. Alex runs a local gym. He found out that one of his personal trainers, Emma, had been sharing before and after photos of clients on her Instagram without their permission. Instead of reacting immediately, Alex took a deep breath and scheduled a private meeting with Emma. He started by asking her about her social media strategy, acknowledging her efforts to promote the gym. Then he gently explained the privacy concerns and potential legal issues with sharing client photos without consent. Together, they brainstormed alternative ways to showcase her work without compromising client privacy. Alex also used this as an opportunity to create a clear social media policy for all staff, which she introduced in a positive, collaborative way. The outcome: Emma felt heard and valued. She became more mindful about her posts and even helped draft the social media guidelines. The gym's online presence improved, with all trainers now following best practices for client privacy. So these examples highlight a few key points. Approach the conversation privately and calmly. Start with empathy and try to understand the employee's perspective. Focus on education rather than punishment. Use the situation as an opportunity to create or refine policies. Involve your team in the solution where possible. Remember, the goal isn't just to stop problematic behaviour, but to create a positive professional online presence that benefits everyone. Now, let's talk about something that's become increasingly important in our interconnected world: cultural consideration. As small businesses become more diverse and often operate across different regions, it's crucial to understand how cultural differences might impact social media use and perceptions of appropriate behaviour. In some cultures, sharing personal information openly on social media is the norm, while others is seen as inappropriate or unprofessional. For example, an employee from a culture that values close-knit work relationships might see no issue with posting photos from a work event complete with glasses of wine. However, in a culture that maintains strict boundaries between personal and professional life, that could be seen as crossing a line. Similar, humour and sarcasm can be particularly tricky. What's considered as a harmless joke in one culture might be deeply offensive in another. I once worked with a company where an employee from the UK posted what he thought was a funny, self-depreciating comment about a project delay. His colleagues in Japan, however, saw it as unprofessional and disrespectful to the team. The key here is not to assume that your cultural norms are universal. Instead, create an environment where open discussions about these differences are encouraged. This means having conversations about cultural expectations around social media use during onboarding, or including cultural sensitivity training as part of your social media policy rollout. Now let's shift gears and talk about positive reinforcement. While it's important to address problematic behaviour, it's equally crucial to encourage and reward positive social media use that can benefit your company. Here are a few ways you can do this. The first one is spotlight star performers. When an employee shares content that's aligned perfectly with your company's values or promotes your business in a positive way, acknowledge it. This could be as simple as a shout out in a team meeting or featuring their post in an internal newsletter. Consider creating a social media ambassador program. Identify employees who are particularly savvy with social media and empower them to lead by example. Provide them with additional training and perhaps even give them official titles like Digital Brand Ambassador. Incorporate social media goals into performance reviews, if appropriate for their role. Consider making social media engagement a part of an employee's objectives. This signals that you view it as a valuable skill. Another thing you could do is run contests or challenges. Organise friendly competitions for the most engaging work-related post or the best representation of your company values on social media. Make sure the prizes are desirable. Provide resources and training. Offer workshops on personal branding or effective social media use. This shows you're invested in your employees' professional development and gives them the tools to represent their company well online. Share success stories. When positive social media activity leads to tangible benefits for the company, like attracting a new client or generating positive PR, share these stories widely. It helps employees see the real impact of their online behaviour.